Sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin when the souls are simply walking in the same direction. At first, they don't even know it, but fate has a funny way of making sure they meet right in the middle. This is the story of Lina and Caro, two women whose paths crossed under the calm evening glow of the city, both searching for something they couldn't quite put into words. It all started with a chance encounter, as most magical things do, at a small metro station. Picture this: Lina, a graphic designer with a quiet intensity, lost in her own world, sketching away on her tablet while waiting for her train. She's creative, observant, maybe a little shy. Across the platform stands Caro, a musician, radiating confidence even with her headphones casually draped around her neck. She notices Lina, and for a fleeting moment, their eyes meet. It wasn't just a glance. It was a spark of recognition, a silent acknowledgement, almost as if their parallel lives had been waiting for this exact moment to intersect. As destiny would have it, they boarded the same train, unknowingly choosing the same direction, both literally and figuratively. The carriage swayed gently, a rhythmic lullaby against the city's hum. Then, a soft melody began to play from Caro's phone. Lina's head lifted, a smile spreading across her face as she recognized the tune. "I love that song," she said, her voice a little shy but clear enough to cut through the noise. Caro looked up, surprised, a delighted grin lighting up her features. "You do? That's amazing. I wrote it." And just like that, something shifted. The invisible wall between strangers dissolved, and a conversation began to flow as naturally as a river. They talked about everything and nothing about music, art, the pressures of city life, and dreams they had kept locked away, never sharing them with anyone before. The train's lights flickered above them, casting a warm glow as they laughed together. For the first time in a long time, the sprawling, anonymous city didn't feel so lonely for Lina. When the train finally reached its last stop, a sense of disappointment hung in the air. Neither of them wanted the night to end, so they didn't let it. They decided to walk together through the quiet streets, lit by the soft, romantic glow of yellow lamps. The rhythm of their footsteps fell into a perfect sync, a subtle harmony, like two heartbeats finding the same tempo. Every corner they turned brought them closer, not just physically, but closer to a truth that was becoming impossible for either of them to ignore. They found themselves at a small park bench near the river, the city lights shimmering across the water's surface, broken only by the gentle ripples of a passing breeze. It was a perfect, cinematic moment. Caro, ever the confident one, gently brushed a stray strand of hair from Lina's face. She leaned in and whispered, her voice soft, "You know, sometimes the universe gives us signs, small, perfect signs that we're on the right path." Lina's eyes, full of a newfound hope, softened as she looked back at Caro. "And what if this?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "What if this is one of them?" Caro smiled, a smile that held a universe of unspoken feelings. "Then I'm not going to ignore it." For a moment, the world around them fell completely silent. The distant city noise faded into the background, and all that remained was the palpable energy, the thrumming heartbeat between them. Caro leaned closer, her breath warm and soft against Lina's lips. The kiss that followed was gentle at first, a tentative, trembling exploration, but it quickly deepened into something sure, something real. It was a kiss that spoke volumes, louder than any words ever could. It was filled with the promise of new beginnings and the profound comfort of feeling truly seen, of being recognized. As they pulled away, a quiet, happy laugh escaped Lina's lips. "I really didn't expect to find someone on a random train ride home." Caro squeezed her hand, their fingers intertwining naturally. "Maybe it wasn't random at all," she said, her eyes twinkling. "Maybe we were just walking in the same direction all along, and it was only a matter of time before we found each other." That thought settled between them, warm and comforting, like a promise for the future. And so, days turned into weeks, and their story began to unfold, page by beautiful page. They met again and again for cozy coffee dates that lasted for hours, for impromptu music sessions where Caro would play her newest songs just for Lina, and for long, meandering evening walks where time itself seemed to stand still. Each meeting added a new layer to their connection, a new piece to the puzzle of their shared story. Their love began to influence their art, their passions. Caro's music, once maybe a bit melancholic or searching, started to change. It became softer, warmer, infused with a new kind of joy. Meanwhile, Lina's sketches, which had often been in muted tones, suddenly burst into life. They grew brighter, filled with vibrant colors and an emotional depth she had never been able to express before. They were inspiring each other, helping each other grow, not just as artists, but as people. Of course, their love wasn't a perfect fairy tale. No real love ever is. There were moments of doubt, insecurities that crept in, and fears rooted in past heartaches that threatened to cast shadows on their bright present. The path wasn't always smooth, but what made their bond so strong was that every time they felt themselves drifting apart, some invisible force, some magnetic pull, always drew them back together. It was like they were two travelers guided by the same internal compass, always reorienting toward each other. One evening, they were watching the sunset from a hill overlooking the city, the sky painted in breathtaking shades of orange, pink, and gold. As the last rays of light kissed the horizon, Caro turned to Lina, a thoughtful expression on her face. "You know, it's funny," she began. "I used to think love was about finding someone who walks beside you, keeping you company. But now I know it's about finding someone who is walking in the same direction, who wants the same things out of life, even when the road gets rough and you can't see what's ahead." Lina rested her head on Caro's shoulder, a contented smile playing on her lips. She felt a profound sense of peace, a feeling of being exactly where she was meant to be. "And as long as we keep walking," she added softly, "we'll always find our way back to each other." Under the fading light, they shared another kiss, a gentle, lingering one that held more promises, more love, and more understanding than words ever could. Their journey had only just begun, but for Lina and Caro, that was the most exciting part. They had found their person, their direction. Because sometimes the greatest, most life-changing love stories don't start with grand, dramatic gestures. They start quietly, with two hearts moving in the same direction, destined to find their way home in each other. Thank you so much for joining me to hear Lina and Caro's story. If you believe in love that finds its way, give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. Until next time, keep your heart open.